Hello, everyone.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to Body Positive Works. I'm not going to take up too much time at all because you're all here to hang out with Mark and do some mindfulness and meditation tonight. But Mark put our information in the chat. It's Body Positive Works, Center for Mind Body Balance in Saddle River. If you'd like hanging out with Mark tonight and learning to meditate, he's going to be here all month long and into the first week of July.
Yep.
And then he does privates here. We do series. I mean, there's a huge array of things that we do here. We're really a marriage of Eastern and Western practices, and come check us out. But go hang out with him tonight. Have fun.
Thanks. So welcome, everybody. I'm really happy to have you here. I've been practicing and teaching meditation for about 20 years now, and it's something so important to me in my life, and really my life purpose has been to share it, and to share it in a way that's practical, that's down to earth. There's a lot of woo-woo stuff out there, at least that's what I would call it, some kind of woo-woo meditation stuff. And I just don't find, that angle is very helpful. So what I'm hoping to do tonight is to introduce you to meditation, maybe from a different angle than you've heard before, and to open your mind to what the practice really can offer. What is meditation? What is mindfulness? Why do we do it? What's the point of it? What am I actually trying to do when I'm sitting down and focusing on my breath, or if I'm pausing throughout the day? Why am I doing those things? How does that help me on what one of my teachers in college, I went to school for religion, and he would say, what does this have to do with Tuesday afternoon? And that's like my whole teaching method behind what I do and how I present meditation. What does this have to do with Tuesday afternoon when I'm stressed out at work, when I'm having a panic attack, when I wake up feeling depressed, when I'm arguing with somebody at work or a family member, when I'm dealing with aging and the pains of that, when I'm dealing with illness or loss, what does this have to do with meditation? So I hope that in the short time we have, today and over the next 3 weeks where we do these live sessions, I can give you some kind of understanding. Now, there is a live chat. Feel free to message there, ask questions. Stop me if you need me to repeat something or you want me to clarify something. Questions really help the class, because if you have a question, there's probably someone else out there that has the same question. And, while I'm beginning to talk, I encourage you, why are you here today? Why meditation? A beautiful day. What day is it? Wednesday? It's a Wednesday. Beautiful day. But here you are sitting at your computer or on your phone to hear about meditation. And, even when I teach my regular classes, even when I sit down with my private clients, that's the first thing I ask. So if anyone's willing to share in the chat, please share. And while you guys are doing that, I can kind of talk to you about what got me into practice. And the first time that I learned about meditation, I was in high school, and I was not interested at all. I was the kid that was throwing stuff at their friends and not really paying much attention to it. But the seed was planted. And I remember trying it. I was like, I can't do this. This is too hard. And I forgot all about it. Then early in my 20s, something came back to me. And it's like, man, I really should start practicing that. And there might be something to it. And I had read books like The Power of Now, The Pillars of Zen, all these different books. And there was just some weird connection that I had with the practice. So I practiced on my own for a while. Then I went on a weekend retreat. So it's 3 days of silence, no talking, no reading, no writing, no phone, nothing. And you just had to sit from 5 a.m. till 10 at night. Of course, you had breaks. You had walking meditation. You had time to eat breakfast and lunch and a light dinner. But most of the day, you're just stuck with yourself. and you're stuck sitting there. And I don't know why. I was a pretty wild young guy at the time, but I felt so connected with this practice, and it really touched my heart in a way that nothing else in this world ever has. And so I continued. I did a weekend, then I did 5 days, then I did 7 days, then I did 10 days. Then I got my bachelor's in religious studies because I was asking all those deeper questions, and I was really into mysticism and finding out the truth of this life, and those deeper things that we ponder. And I lived with the monks and nuns for a month-long kind of stay at the retreat center, and I sat every day. I was very lucky with my schedule, and I was a trainer at the time, so I made pretty decent money, enough to get by with not a lot of hours. And I focused everything on this practice, and it's been that way ever since. Now I have a family. I have 4 kids. I have my wife. I have a full-time job, and then I do this on the side. But my practice is still the most important thing in my life. And sharing this practice is even more important because there's so many people in this world who are suffering. And look, life has suffering. We're going to experience pain and loss and anxiety and the normal human things that happen. But there's a lot of unnecessary suffering. And that's something that meditation can completely eradicate, or at least reduce for a while. And then hopefully, with continued practice, eradicate the unnecessary suffering. So I see someone wrote in the chat, Deirdre, thank you for sharing. I'm here to learn about meditation. Great. So again, for me, meditation, it's not another habit, right? It's not another multivitamin pill. It's not something you take in the morning and you forget about it. It's not escaping your life for 10 minutes. It's not like just trying to feel good and then going back to the messiness of your life. Meditation is your entire life, if understood correctly. Meditation is, how am I meeting this moment? And that's every moment. It's not just about sitting. Sure, sitting is important, right? Think of playing an instrument. If anybody plays an instrument, you don't just one day pick up a guitar or a piano and go perform without, just spontaneously play something or put on a show for somebody. There has to be formal training first for you to express it spontaneously like that. So you need to learn the scales. You need to learn the chords. You need to sit there and practice. Your fingers hurt. You get blisters. You get frustrated. It's difficult. But repeatedly doing the fundamentals is what allows you to go on stage and perform spontaneously. All of that work. So you can think of sitting meditation as the formal practice of certain qualities of mind that we then want to go out into our lives and experience. So our society is very much focused on happiness. Everything's about happiness, right? Every self-help book, you go to therapy. Why? Because you want to be happy. You don't want to feel bad. You want to feel good. This is a common theme, and it's very much promoted in our society. Now, the problem with that, I'll say one word, and it's, if you've been in any of my classes before, or if you continue to come to my classes, you're going to hear this word a lot in many different forms, but impermanence. Everything changes and ends. It's a basic fundamental truth about life. Everything, every thought, every mood, every emotion, your body, the trees outside, everything in the entire universe, the people we're around, the situations we find ourselves in, our job, whatever it is, it changes. So when we try to focus on how can I just be happy all the time, well, you're not in line with reality. And for me, part of meditation is seeing things clearly, understanding the laws that govern this life. Because if we're not in line with what's true, which in the meditative world, we'd call it that ignorance. If we're not aware of what's true, then we're going through life in a very unconscious way, and we're going through life expecting things from life that it can't ultimately offer. So it's a losing battle. And then we're so frustrated and stressed and have all this extra suffering just simply because we don't see things clearly. So if you understand, let's say, impermanence, right? It's not a belief system. It's just the truth. Find something that's not impermanent. You can't think of, look at a picture of yourself from 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Very different body, right? And how many different moods have you experienced? How many emotions have passed through this body? How many thoughts? My God, trillions, gazillions of thoughts. Everything changes and ends. And if we go through life thinking, hey, it's supposed to feel good all the time. I'm supposed to be happy all the time. Well, what happens? We end up banging our head against the wall unnecessarily because we're fighting reality. We're winning a losing battle against reality. I'm not saying there isn't happiness to be found, nor am I saying that there is no deep sense of ease, contentment, joy, what I call a profound okayness that is possible. There sure is. But happiness, not the greatest goal, because it's so fleeting and it's so subjective, right? So if you like, for example, if you like being cold and you're sitting in a room that's hot, you won't be happy, right? Whereas maybe somebody else who loves being hot and hates being cold will be the happiest person ever. So what am I trying to say is that happiness isn't inherent in things. Like ice cream, oh, that makes me happy. Well, if that's true, the more ice cream you ate, the happier you'd get. What happens after that first jug and the second jug, right? The third, you're starting to feel sick. Maybe you even throw up or whatever, So that's not the case. If you get more money, maybe that makes you happy, right? But think of people, celebrities, right? There are celebrities that still have addictions, that still get divorces, that still commit suicide. So, money doesn't bring happiness. It's not inherent in money. One teacher says, don't make your home in changing conditions. And I think this is getting to the point of meditation. So what can I depend on, right? If you're saying, Mark, you can't have permanent happiness, well, what can I have? What will meditation offer me? And meditation offers you a place of refuge. And this is the radical part. Everybody wants to fix things about their life. They want something else. If you're feeling anxious, you want to be happy, right? If you're feeling sad, you want that to go away. And we're constantly in a battle with how things really are. And meditation reverses that. And it says, stop struggling with how things are and actually turn toward it and open up to it and see what happens, see what you find. And there's a quote by a teacher named Tara Brach, Buddhist author, Buddhist teacher. And she says, however it is, there's room for it. And that is the basis of what I teach people. However your life is showing up today, right now, this moment, whether it's sad, whether it's heavy, whether it's stressful, whether it's joyful and peaceful, whether you're young or old, whether you're sick or healthy, whatever's here, however it is, there's room for it. And when we stop fighting reality, there's a lot more energy to work with reality. We can actually let go. We can actually find a sense of ease. But until we accept that this is it, this moment right here, this is our life. There is no other time. There is no other place. However it is now, that's simply what's true for now, right? Impermanence, we have to keep that in mind. However things are right now, that's what's true. We can depend on that, right? We can also learn to hold that with great compassion, with a spacious mind and a kind and loving heart. And that's where the transformation happens. It's not in trying to fix things. It's not in trying to get rid of things. It's not in trying to get something new. It's letting go of the thing that's causing all the problems. The thing, which I call me world, self-centered thinking, which looks at this moment and says, yes, I want more, or no, get that away from me. This is how it should be. This is how it shouldn't be, right? And take something as simple as meditation, just to show you what I'm talking about. Meditation is simple. Sit down, be quiet, pay attention. That's it. It's really that simple. But what happens? Well, most of us have an idea of what's supposed to happen, what it's supposed to feel like. We hear things like, you have to quiet your mind or stop your thoughts. And so we have all these ideas. And the practice is simple. Sit there, pay attention, notice what's happening. Let that moment be the way it is. But what happens? You sit down and your mind's really agitated and very busy and you can't focus. And then what kicks in? Me world, self-centered thinking. I can't do it. I'm not supposed to have all these thoughts. I must be doing something wrong. I'm a failure. Meditation sucks. It's not for me. I can't tell you how many people tell me, I can't stop my mind. Meditation doesn't work. I can't do it. Well, how many times have you tried it? Once. Okay. Can you play Beethoven the first time you sit down at a piano? No. So how can you say you have tried and that you even understand what you're doing by sitting down one time? And who told you that your thoughts were a problem? And more importantly, who's the one making the problem when you're sitting there, right? Because meditation is what it is. You sit there and whatever's happening, that's what's happening. And you can notice, you can stay upright, you can stay relaxed. You don't have to get involved with it. You can just simply observe with non-judgmental attention. But what's causing the problem? It shouldn't be this way. I don't want a busy mind. I want to feel peaceful. Who's making all that noise out there? Don't they know I'm meditating? So it's this self-centeredness that causes the problems. Things are just the way they are. Sometimes I'm sitting with clients and there are people outside or in the hall out here, or maybe, there's a yoga studio upstairs. So we're sitting in meditation and someone could be getting upset. But why? Just people talking, just footsteps, just noise outside, just a car driving by, just an achy knee, just a busy mind. Things are what they are until we filter it through this self-centered thinking that I call me world. And that's what we're learning to let go of. And this is what happens all day, any moment of suffering. And I'm not talking about physical pain. I'm talking about getting upset, getting agitated, feeling anxious, stressed, worried. Any moment of that, I guarantee you that you're sucked into me world. You're sucked into some idea of how things are supposed to be going, and they're not going that way. And you can think of meditation not as getting something new, but in letting go of this little box that we carry around that says it's supposed to be like this. And we try to put life inside this box, and it never fits. And it might fit for a little bit, right? But everything changes and ends. Everything's subject to change. So you might have it good for a while. Oh man, this is exactly the way I want it. And then poof, something changes. And now you're upset. Now you're stressing out. Now there's a problem. And I will say, it's much nicer. And it's a much different way of experiencing your life when your life is focused on life itself, rather than, I say from self-centered to life-centered. Think of our meditation practice as making that shift from how I want it to be, how I think it should be, to how it is. And if you remember what I said, however it is, there's room for it. And what does that mean? Well, it means that there is something, and we call it awareness. You could call it consciousness. There's something that knows what's happening, and it's almost like a mirror. Just like whatever you put in front of a mirror, it just reflects it back. It doesn't add anything. It doesn't push something away. It's like, oh, that's ugly. No, a mirror just gives a clear reflection. And at the same time, no matter what's in front of the mirror is not harmed in any way. So you could put a monster, something scary. You could put something violent. You could put something beautiful. You could put something sad, whatever. The mirror is not affected by that. Same with the sky. You have the sky. It's open, it's free. And there's a lot of storms that pass through. Clouds, thunderstorms, hail, rain, snow, airplanes, people jumping out of airplanes. The sky is not affected. The sky is just the space which allows all of these conditions to come and go. So it's the same thing with awareness. And that's our place of refuge. And if there's one thing that I can, send you off with, if I never see you again, is a reminder that there is this place within yourself. It's already who you are. It's already here. You don't need to get it. You don't need to do 30 years of meditation. It's already who you are. And you can pause, and I like to put my hand to the heart. I like to close my eyes. And you can pause for a moment. I encourage you to try it just for a moment with me. And just notice how things are. So notice what your body feels like. Does it feel achy? Is there any, tension or pain or aches? Does it feel relaxed? Does it feel stressed? You can notice if there are any emotions present. What do they feel like? Do you feel a squeezing in your chest? Do you feel a sense of happiness and ease? Is there a sadness or a heaviness? You can notice the temperature of the room. If the air is on, maybe you feel a slight kind of breeze, a coolness. Maybe you don't have the air on and it's a little, warm and, sticky, and notice what that feels like. And just be that mirror for a moment. You can hear the sounds. You hear my voice coming and going. There might be other sounds, people in your house, cars outside, birds chirping, the sound of an air conditioner. And then you're going to have all these thoughts, right? Your mind is an organ. It's made to think, just like your heart beats, your stomach digests, your mind thinks, and that's okay. Well, why does that have to be a problem? Just because you have thoughts, doesn't mean you have to follow them. So notice, oh, look, my mind's worrying about work tomorrow. Or, oh, wow, look, there's a memory of an argument I had, yesterday with my partner. Or, there's my mind judging the moment. Oh, it's too cold. Look at that. There's a judging mind. And just see that all of these conditions are changing. My voice is coming and going. Your body's feeling different things. All the sounds are, changing. Your thoughts are coming and going. Yet there's something here that hasn't changed. There's something that simply knows right now things are like this. It's easy to miss. But there is that unchanging part of you. That part of you that's not conditioned by your life. Your mind is conditioned by what's happening and what's happened. Your emotions are conditioned by the situations and the way your mind perceives things. Your body is conditioned by the environment around it. Awareness is not conditioned at all. Awareness is free. But you have to be willing to let go of yourself. So however it is, let it be that way for a moment. See what that's like. We're so quick to run away from our lives because we want something else or because we don't want something, that we never actually take a moment to go deep into how it actually is. And we're like a poor man sitting on a bucket of money. What we're looking for has been here the whole time. It's just we haven't looked properly. We're so focused on fixing things and going out and trying to get life to fit in that little box that we're missing completely what's right here. So you can take a nice deep breath. You can put your hand down. So that's just a little taste of it. And maybe you didn't feel this, big explosion of bliss. It's not really how it works. I guess sometimes that can happen. But just a sense of relief. And you can do that pause practice anytime. And I encourage you to pause often throughout the day. Because when you pause and you're being fully present, literally smelling the roses, right? Or literally watching the trees, dance in the wind. When you're fully present, you might think, well, what is that going to do for me? How does that help? When you're fully present, you're not strengthening habits of mind that cause suffering. And that's all suffering is, habits of mind. Habitual ways of viewing things, habitual ways of reacting. And a lot of it is formed in childhood, right? Again, we're conditioned. So a lot of it is just, how did we survive our childhood? How did we survive our family? And I'm not saying every family is full of trauma and, horror. Some definitely are. But just little things. Maybe you had an older sister and you felt like you were in the shadow of your older sister. Or maybe, your mother yelled at you or put you down, and then you have this view about yourself. Maybe you were made fun of growing up and you think that, you're bad or something's wrong. So we have these habits. And, however we kind of adapted to our youth, then we go out and we see the world through that lens. And that's not reality. That's just our conditioning. And we don't see reality. We see our view of it. We see our perceptions. And this is what we cling to. We cling to our perceptions. We cling to our habits. And some of these habits kept us safe, right? If we think of something like worry, right? Take a simple example. Let's say you were 5 years old and your mother died and you had nobody to talk to and you didn't know how to deal with that loss and nobody taught you how to deal with that. Maybe there wasn't anybody there to hold you and to, tell you it was okay and have conversations with you. So what does your mind do to protect you from that pain? It says, well, I'm going to think of every worst possible thing that can happen so you never feel this way ever again. It's a protection mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. A lot of our neurosis is just trying to protect us. And that's why when we go to therapy and we're like, I want to get rid of this worry. I hate this. Why do I do this? What's wrong with me? That's the wrong approach. You're just creating a war with the broken parts of yourself. When in reality, we should have compassion for this part of ourselves. There's the 5-year-old who couldn't deal with life. There's the 5-year-old who's trying to protect herself or himself, right? So then when we have this relationship with worry or whatever your, struggle is, it can be, I see you. I get why you're doing that. And I'm here. You're okay. It's okay. And you can be that loving parent, that loving presence that 5-year-old didn't have. So, meditation, it's so hard for me to teach it in, in like 30, 40 minutes. It's so hard for me to squeeze it all in. That's why I'm excited for these next couple weeks that we can continue this conversation. But it's everything. Meditation is everything. And it's not just the good stuff. Meditation, although it's promoted like, how is it promoted? Usually like there's a super fit woman wearing all white on a mountain who looks super happy, like, life is good, right? And that's how it's presented, as like, oh, like you're gonna have this peaceful life, everything's gonna be great, everything's gonna work out, you can manifest everything. Don't get me started on manifestation. But you can have everything you want, you can feel great, and it's just, to me, that's just false advertising, right? How do I know if you're not going to lose somebody tomorrow, or get a diagnosis, or lose your job, or something in your life will change? That, you can't have this permanent happiness that they try to promote. And that might seem like a disappointment, but I think it's a sense of relief. Whew, I can stop trying so hard, And I'm not saying you give up at life. But I can stop pursuing things so much that I think are going to make it all better, that I think are going to bring me this final happily ever after. And I can just relax. I can relax into how things are. And sure, maybe they're a little unpleasant right now, but that's okay. Why? Everything changes and ends. And if I don't indulge in it, if I don't continue it by, suppressing it and acting it out and trying to run away, then these things just come and go. Everything has their time. When you lose somebody, there's a time, it's time to grieve. And that has its own way. That has its own time. When you feel frustrated or stressed out, if you just leave it alone, it has its own time. Whatever's happening in this moment is just an expression of the causes and conditions of that particular time. Those conditions will change. Your feelings about them will change. So you don't have to try so hard to fight it, to struggle, to get rid of it. I don't need to reach for a drink just because I feel a little anxious or sad. Sadness is like this. Oh, I'm a human being. Every human being's felt this, So it's just making friends with your humanity and then taking refuge in that place of awareness. So what we're cultivating on here, on the chair or the cushion, are very particular qualities. It's a particular way of being in the world so that you can go out into the world and be resilient, have a sense of confidence. I am capable of holding whatever life throws at me, no matter how painful or scary it might be. They say the 10,000 joys and sorrows. However it is, there's room for it. There is a space that we can rest in, that can hold things as they are, as they come and go. And that's the sense of freedom that meditation offers. Freedom from habits of viewing, freedom from habits of reacting, freedom from living in harmful ways, unskillful, unwholesome ways. And then, once we free ourselves from our own, destructive patterns, then we can turn towards the world and we can start easing suffering out in the world. And it's so important to remember that this practice is not just, I want to feel good, screw everybody else. I don't care. I just want to feel better, right? That might be how it starts. But as you begin to practice, you start working with yourself. You start sitting with your pain. You start opening. A natural compassion starts to arise. Not a fake, phony one that you have to try, but just this natural expression of compassion because you see how hard it is to be a human being and you're not turning away from it anymore. And when you see somebody who's angry, you empathize. My God, I've been angry before. I know how hard that is. Let me not hate this person. I know how much they're suffering right now, and who knows what's happening. Let's see if I can bring some ease to this situation. Let me see if I can talk them down, or have a conversation and help them wake up. And we see things on the news, or see acts of violence, or you see political figures doing things that just make you cringe or get really mad, and it's like, my God, how much suffering these people are causing for themselves and others. And that there's that little bit of potential for compassion. But that only happens when you stop running from yourself. Because how you react to things out in the world is how you're reacting to your own stuff. So if you're, enraged with it, then it's a chance that you get very hard on yourself. If you try to dissociate from it, well, there's probably parts of yourself you're dissociating from. So we're learning to be with everything. And it's not an easy practice. And, there's 8 of you out there. I hope all 8 of you stay with it. I hope that I stir something in you. I wake something up. Because this practice it's simple, right? It's very simple, but it's not easy. Because you have to face everything. You have to sit with everything. The only way you can feel whole and complete is if you open to everything, right? We want to feel whole, but you can't just have the good parts. If you want to feel whole, you have to open to all of it, to your neurotic patterns, to your pain, to your fear, to your neediness, to your loneliness, to your jealousy, to all of that. And you have to learn to be with it, and be with it in a way where it doesn't have to take over, where it doesn't have to cause harm, like it is in the world, right? The same energies that are found in our own bodies and hearts and minds are the same patterns and energies causing destruction in the world. We're not better than anybody. We just might have different conditions. Maybe we have some better conditions. Maybe we had loving parents. Maybe we had support. Maybe we were taught different ways to view things and experience things. Not everybody has that. So they're in a state of ignorance. And rather than hate them and cause more aggression and violence, we can empathize, we can open, and we can say, my God, may this person be free from their, violent views. May they be free from their ignorance. May their heart be open. May they realize what they're doing so they don't cause harm anymore. I think we can all get on board with that type of compassion. So this was a very brief introduction. I dropped a lot of stuff on you. I'm hoping next week we can get to my acronym for meditation, which is ARK, A-R-K, Awareness, Relaxation, Kindness. I'll get a little more specific into the qualities we're trying to cultivate, how to cultivate it, and then we'll actually do a practice based on ARK. But for now, I think just a simple way to start introducing this into your life is just hand to heart, close the eyes, and just take a moment to experience things the way they are without adding anything, without pushing anything away. And it's almost like putting down a huge boulder you've been carrying your whole life. And you just do moments of that. And you're retraining your mind. You're training your mind toward a state of openness. And we can train our mind. That's the good news. Neuroscience has proven that we can change the way our mind functions. We can change the way we perceive things. We can change the direction of our lives just by how we pay attention and how we choose to live moment by moment. So pause often, especially when you're feeling triggered. Start to notice me world. Oh, look, my mind doesn't like what this person said. And look at the big stink it's having. And oh, look at all these emotions that come along with this thought about what this person said. And then, and see what that's like. And hurt feels like this. It hurts when somebody says something mean. And how many other people in the world feel this and have been talked down to? May we all find ease, and may people who are talking mean wake up and stop causing that harm. So you can use everything in your life as fertilizer for cultivating your mind. And that's what I love about this. Everything has meaning. The joy you can share, you can spread, and the suffering you can use as fertilizer. My God, how many other people are feeling this right now? May we all find ease. May we all find peace. So it's really an amazing practice when it's understood correctly. It gives your whole life meaning. It can give you such a confidence boost in your ability to face your life, to be resilient in the middle of whatever mess you find yourself in. And it really stems from having that clear view about life. Everything changes and ends. Things are painful sometimes. Life is difficult. Nobody gets an easy pass. Nobody said it was supposed to be easy. Every human being has struggled. Think of our ancestors. They didn't have food stores or air conditioning, right? How hard that must have been. All of us suffer and struggle and have a hard time. You're not unique if you're struggling or suffering. There's nothing unique about you. Every human being struggles and suffers, no matter what Facebook says or Instagram. All those people that are happy all the time are not happy all the time. I promise you, I work with a lot of people like that. Your life is the way it is, whether we like it or not. So I think the mature next step when it comes to spiritual work is to accept that. These are the ingredients I have. How can I start working with them to bring ease into my life and to the lives of those around me? It's learning to be there no matter what. And that's what the daily practice is about. Showing up every day no matter what and sitting. So I do, quick plug, I do have a class every Wednesday night, a mindful living community. We're starting tonight, our next 4-week session. You can join anytime. It's only $25 a class. We usually pay for $100 for the 4 weeks. So you're committed. It's a really nice group, small, intimate. We share, we do, we have teachings, we do meditation. So I'd love for you guys to be a part of that. Or if you feel inclined, maybe you're struggling a lot and you really want some more in-depth training, we can work one-on-one. I do it here. I do it on Zoom. I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. So really nice being here with everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Body Positive Works. They'll forward it to me. Or you could search my name, Mark Van Buren. You could find me on Instagram, TikTok. You can pretty much find me very easily. You can read articles I wrote, books I wrote on the subject. So stay in touch, keep practicing, and I hope to see you all next week. If there's anybody that wants to join, reach out to Body Positive Works for the Wednesday night classes. If you want to invite people to these free events, give them the link, please. People need this. So thank you guys so much for showing up and sticking with it, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks, everybody.